I'm Virg Bernero, Mayor of Lansing and Democratic candidate for governor. I'm running for governor because I want to make a difference. I want to improve our state. I know people are hurting from one end of the state to the other. I'm happy to be here in Detroit today. And been here quite a bit. I'll be here more. Detroit is the face of Michigan, and so delighted to be here today. But I'm the mayor of a city. I get cities. I understand the importance of our cities. Our cities need to be the hub of the wheel instead of the hole in the donut. I've been working on that in my city, of course, in particular in Lansing, and we've been getting results. You know, we've got the second lowest unemployment in the state in Lansing. We've diversified our economy. We have IT, high-tech, bioscience, and advanced manufacturing. It's by no means, it's not all peaches and cream, but we've really made a difference. Kiplinger's put Lansing on the top list of top 10 places for young people to move to live in, top 10 places in America for young people to live in Lansing, Michigan. So we've been doing some things right. But as mayor of Lansing, I feel a little bit like the guy in the engine room of a big ship. No matter how much fuel I put on the fire, I can't affect where that ship is headed. And I'm asking people's help to get up on deck and get my hands on the wheel and help turn Lansing around. This is a historic ticket I've got. It's myself and Brenda Lawrence is my choice for lieutenant governor, my running mate. She's the mayor of Southfield. So it's a historic ticket. Not only would Brenda Lawrence be the first African-American female lieutenant governor, but also it's the first time we've had what I call the two-mayor ticket, Main Street mayors for Michigan. And what would it mean to have two mayors running state government? Well, it would make state government different. It's going to be more customer service oriented, and it's going to be more about, you know, frontline services, because as mayors we are on Main Street, we're on the front lines delivering services, making sure that the 911 calls get answered, that the fires get put out, that the potholes get filled, that the garbage gets picked up. We are, you know, as mayors, we're on the front lines. We've got our hands, we're under the hood. We roll up our sleeves and get right in there, and we're ready to do that for the state of Michigan. My wife is a 20-year-plus public educator. She's principal of Luton Elementary, a public school in Lansing. So we are very big on public education. We understand the nuts and bolts of public education and the importance of, you know, top quality public education for every child in Michigan, and we're committed to it. So I want to make sure that those resources are available so that every child has all-day kindergarten, so that every child has a great state-approved curriculum with music, art, and PE. Every child has a reasonable class size of, you know, 24 or less. So that these things are not dependent on what neighborhood you're in or wherever. From Detroit to Menominee to Lansing to Grand Rapids, certain things should be standard, and it needs to be that great quality public education available to all. As far as the emergency financial manager, certain things I have to do by law, and if a district is near bankruptcy or in bankruptcy, I may have to appoint a financial manager, and it'll be for that purpose. My goal is to not have to do that. My goal is to be proactive and constructive and get in there ahead of the game, work with the community, work with the school board, work with the leadership of the city so that an emergency financial manager won't be necessary. And I'd say the same thing about, you know, municipal emergency financial managers. There's a couple of those out there. When a city is in receivership, when a city is financially in trouble, the governor has to do certain things. My goal is to get in there and be ahead of the game, work with the city, and try to be proactive. But obviously I have to follow the law if they fall into such a financial condition. My goal is to appoint that person. Again, they'll be accountable to me. When I appoint a financial manager, they will be accountable to me on a daily and weekly basis. They also need to be accountable to the community. They need to be transparent. They need to be open about what they're doing. They need to share their goals. Ideally, work with the community. This is what I will expect and require of my appointees. They're my appointees. And so it's, you know, it's an extraordinary measure that's taken, that's laid out in statute in Michigan. It's an extraordinary measure for what is, you know, an extraordinary thing for a municipality or a school district to fall into bankruptcy. It's designed to be short-term. In order for it to work, you know, the governor needs to pay very careful attention to it and see to it that the community is about repairing the problem. It shouldn't be simply top-down, we're here from Lansing and we're going to tell you how to do it. I don't believe in that. I'm a mayor. And so as governor, I'm going to approach it, I want to empower our communities. I have ideas about Detroit, about Grand Rapids, about the UP. My ideas, may not be the idea that's acceptable in that community. And as governor, my role isn't to institute my ideas, but it's to provide creative leadership and support for every community, to empower communities, to embolden them, and to help provide resources to get the job done. So I want to help Detroit advance their plan, not my plan. I get asked a lot as governor, well, what are your plans for Detroit? Well, I have ideas for Detroit. I'm not sure that a governor should have plans in particular for a particular city. I think a governor's job is to have ideas and vision and a plan to move the whole state forward, but you got to leave room for the ingenuity, the creativity, the entrepreneurship of each and every unique community in Michigan. Yes. Proposal A has just about run its course. The truth is that it's been about 16, 17 years. Proposal A came about pretty quickly. It was largely it was as much about property taxes as it was about educational funding, because Michigan at that time had the 4th or 5th highest property tax burden in the country. It was onerous. People were being taxed out of their homes, and the feeling was, and I recall it, it was that something had to be done drastically, and it was, and it did help the property tax situation, and it also did, at the time, it did help equalize some of the disparities that had developed in our school system, in our funding of public schools, and those disparities are starting to arise again. We've got real problems developing in our schools in terms of adequate funding and in terms of inequalities in our system, and from districts across the state. So it is high time that we revisit the school funding system, and one of my first things is going to be to appoint a task force, get the best minds in finance and education and in our communities around the state, and really tackle this issue, because we don't need a quick fix. We don't need to paper over it. This is what Lansing is used to doing. Quick fixes, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and papering over problems. We need to say not only what is this going to do for schools in the next budget year, but where do we want school funding, what do we want it to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And let's build that system today. But we're going to have to stabilize school funding, for a year, and really dig in and redesign the funding system. I'd like to do that, and I'll have to work with the finance folks in Detroit and in Lansing to really dig into that and get my arms around it and see exactly how we deal with it. It does seem to be an unfair burden on Detroit students and the Detroit education system.